So teachers model their love for the topic and for the subject matter and their interest in the students. I think that if you are not a native speaker, you do not have a native speaker fluency, but you can carry all of these other things with your language, with your tone, with your body language, with your presence, with your smile, with your enthusiasm, the message is going to come through and the child is going to pay attention. I have, let me go back. I've been in a lot of talks and a lot of panels, in different parts of the world, and I learned this lesson that I'm just telling you, sharing with you, with regards to the proficiency or the native speaker approximation to native speaker, because I've been on a lot of panels where the speakers do not have native speaker fluency in Spanish. And yet the audience is sitting there at the edge of their seats. And so I know that within three or four sentences of a speaker being up there, the students are going to listen or they're going to turn off. So I think we just go past that language, funny thing about that accent or funny thing about that R or whatever it is that we catch in that first instance in the first couple of seconds, and then we go to the content and to the message that the student is conveying. So that's what I want to talk about with respect to what we do at UCLA with our teacher ed program. And I also want to acknowledge Ramon Martinez, who is one of my students from the TEP program, who's now a professor at University of Texas in Austin. Hola, Ramon. Dr. Martinez. At UCLA, we have a program for training teachers, and we call it the TEP, the Teacher Education Program. We have been using something called the social justice model. We're still trying to define exactly what that means and how that comes through to what we do and how the kinds of teachers we send out to the world. And specifically, I want to talk about the BCLAC, which is the Bilingual Cross-Cultural Language and Academic Development Credential Program that we are authorized to do here at UCLA. Authorized meaning the state of California Teacher Credentialing Office. And so with respect to the language component, I want to tell you a little bit about the assessment that we do, the preliminary assessment, because we don't have, for the Spanish, we don't have time to teach Spanish to the students who want to be bilingual teachers, Spanish bilingual teachers. So we need to do a pre-assessment of their language skills, of the Spanish language skills. And so I'm going to share that with you, but before I do that, I want to tell you about the coursework, because once we have that assessment, then we have 3 courses, 3 academic quarters that students do their coursework in Spanish. And one of those courses is one that addresses sociolinguistic issues. And there we talk about the variations of Spanish and a lot of the issues that were raised a little bit earlier by Dr. Des Moines as well as Dr. Bao. Talk about the prestige dialects and also the pecking order. In Spanish we have a pecking order of dialects, just as much as we have that with English language. And so I want to make sure that our students realize that they need to be aware of those things that we get socialized to, thinking that Spanish, Mexican Spanish is higher prestige than Guatemalan Spanish or Salvadoran Spanish or whatever. So here is the, you can't see it, but I'm going to move. This is the Solem. It's a very general student oral language observation matrix that was developed by the State Department of Education, the bilingual office. And so we use this as a, what you're going to find here, I'm giving you the last, it's a 5-scale, it's a 5-scale matrix with comprehension, fluency, vocabulary, pronunciation, and grammar. This is for the oral component. And the students who are applying to be bilingual teachers in our program need to start out at least at level 3, which would be that one that first says understands most of what is said at a slower than normal speed with repetitions, and the fluency and so forth. Each one of us has a description of what would be level 3. And then, because we do not have the luxury of graduating only those that are native like fluency, we insist that they be at least at level 4 in terms of ability with comprehension. So I'm just going to read that, because I'm not sure how clearly people in the back can read. Okay, so for comprehension in level 4 would be understands nearly everything at normal speed, although occasional repetition may be necessary. Level 5 for comprehension would be understands everyday conversation and normal classroom discussion without difficulty. Then let's go to vocabulary. Vocabulary level 4 would be occasionally uses inappropriate terms and or must rephrase due to limited vocabulary, whereas level 5 uses vocabulary and idioms approximately, the use of vocabulary and idioms approximately that of a native speaker. With pronunciation, which is the main topic that I want to focus on today, is always intelligible, although one is conscious of a definite accent and occasional inappropriate intonation patterns. Level 5 would be pronunciation and intonation approximate that of a native speaker. And then grammar, occasional grammar, errors and a word order do not, but they do not obscure the meaning, whereas level 5 is grammar and word order approximate that of a native speaker. So as I say, we allow students to stay in the program if they start out with any of these, in any of these parts of the oral language at level 3. But they must be able to read and write, at least at that level, preferably at level 4, level 5. And I have a comparable heuristic for the writing and the reading comprehension, and then a translation, because these are all the different modalities of language that they must at least get to level 5 in order for us to pass them and recommend them for the bilingual credential. And so what I want to do now is have you listen to a couple of teachers who are teaching in a bilingual program and for whom Spanish is the language of instruction and it is their second language.